Hello everyone, this is Vinod Nayak. Today I'm going to explain an Android application and I built a Foodie application. Foodie application is used to plan your food according to your meal timings like breakfast, lunch, dinner or other timings. So in this application we just grab a picture using our camera or we just grab the picture from our gallery. We just store the picture by adding some name for that picture. I mean the food picture and some adding some tags to the picture and we just save it on our databases. So whenever if you want to plan the food, we just using the databases and we just plan the food according to your food timings like breakfast, lunch, dinner or other timings like snack timings. Let me open my application. I previously opened my Android application because it takes some nearly 2 to 3 minutes to open the application. So that's why here is my Android Studio. At first, let me run my application. So I'm just using a Nexus 6P and I'm just downloaded the Marshmallow Android version that will gives me the perfect application running. Let me click OK. The emulator will start. Yeah, it is starting. So to open the emulator, it takes nearly 20 to 30 seconds. After that, we just go to our Android manifest XML file. This is my main file. Here, I'm just giving a taking a permission to access from my external storage. The external storage nothing is but my phone storage or outside of my databases. And I'm just asking the permission to access the camera from the phone. So and after that I mentioned all the activities whatever I'm just used in my program. So here are the activities like add food and food list test and food list and dashboard activity and add tags activity, select date activity, select food time activity and select food activity and activity of share or continue planning. So these are all activities I'm just using over here. Let me see my activity in my Java file. So this is my food and these are my activities. As I mentioned, I'm using the add food, add tags, dashboard, food list test, data, select date, select food time, share or continue planning. I think my emulator is running. Yeah, it is running. This is my application interface. Yeah. So this is my home page and this is also called my dashboard. In my dashboard, I'm having a three activities like add food to database, history and plan. So if I want to add the food to my databases, initially just click on this. Here I'm having nothing. So I can able to access my from my gallery and everything. So right now I'm accessing my camera because this is my special feature in my application. So this is the emulated camera. That's why it's just showing a running tiles. Let's click take a snapshot and take OK. So this is a food. I'm adding my favorite food like turkey burger. Turkey burger and I'm just saving this food. While saving the food, I just made as a predefined some add tags to that food. The food is like low calorie, sinful, favorite, snacks, party, quick, kid and dessert. I'm using a low calorie food and my favorite food. After saving these tags, it will shows like tag is added and the food list here. These are my food list. So after adding the food list to my databases, I'm going to plan like here see in our history. I'm having nothing in my history. So let's get back and plan the food. Here is my calendar. I'm just using a calendar mode here. In that my calendar it shows first a year and after that month and year and the day. So I'm just picking one day for my food. After picking a day, if we click next, it will goes to the food timings like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and others. Here I can select only one food time at once. So I'm just clicking a lunch and I'm selecting the next. So after selecting the next, it will shows the what are the database food database I'm having. So from that I can able to select any one of the food and I'm just making a plan. So here my finally I just planned my food for lunch on particular date. Here on the top I'm just mentioning like congrats the meal is planned. If you want to share this food, you can able to share this food through some social media like Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Gmail, Hangouts, and everything. So this is my new emulator. That's why it is not having any kind of a social media. That's why it is just grabbing my regular text message, and I can able to share the food whatever I'm having here, which is only in the mode of text. I'm unable to share the image. So that's the one of the problem I just facing here. So if you want to plan more, you can click the plan more, and it will come again from the add food. So after complete finishing your this you can click on done. So after if you are viewing in my history, in my history I'm just have planned the what are the food I just planned here, this shown my history. So from here itself also we can share the food. So like this it can show what are the tags, what are the, if I click on the side button it will shows how many foods over there here. So this is my application. Let's move to my code. Here I'm having the activities like as my previously mentioned that these are the activities I'm having, and I'm having the three adapters like display food list adapter and select tags adapter. These adapters are used to display the food list whatever I'm having in my database. It will use helps to display on the screen. And the select tags adapter, which this adapter is used to select the what are the tags which are having that's everything in which will shows in that add tags. And here I'm using two databases. One is a food crew database. This database is used to display add food, update food, and modify the food and add tags. For these things I'm using this database. And for planning the food, after planning the food, the planned food is stored in the history. That is that data that contents and everything will be stored in this databases. Let's go to the add food. Initially we just start with for a dashboard. This is my main page, right? So I'm just starting from here. So in my dashboard I'm having a three activities like history, add food, and plan food. So if I click on the history, it will set on the click on listener, and after moving it will shows what are the history, whatever I just planned the food, that history is shown over there. So if I click on the add food, then it will go to the add food page, and it will click on, after it will set click listener, and it will goes to the grabbing an image through the camera or from the gallery, and it will add some food, and all the process will be done over there. And the plan food, after clicking on plan food, I just go to the date, and after clicking next, and it goes to the food time and everything that will be planned over here. So these are all the activities which are so here I'm using the camera. This is a content which is used to the camera or some kind of my gallery, whatever. I'm just accessing the permission to grant. After permission is granted, then my camera will able to grab the picture from external, and it will store in my databases. Let's go to the add food. In the add food I'm using this database like food crew database. So if you go to the food crew database, here I'm having a database name and database table and database columns, rows, and everything over here. And I'm using a SQLite database to store all the food contents and add tags and history, everything I'm just stored over here. Let's move to the add tags. So this is the add tags which is used to, these are all add tags also which are stored in the food crew database handler in databases. So here once I click on the, after adding the food, once I click on the tags, after adding the tags, if I click on the save tags, then it will goes to the toast which is showed like a tags added. If I'm not adding any kind of tags, then it will shows like no tags are selected without I'm adding any tags, and go to the click next. Let's go to the food list test. So here in my food list test, here I'm accessing the camera. So here I'm using the camera features over here. So this is my camera feature. It is in the line of 56 in the foodlisttest.java, and here I'm using the open back camera option. So by after entering into this option, it will go to the camera option, and after go to the camera, once I capture the picture through the camera will stores the picture name in the timestamp, and it in the format of JPG format, and it will stored in the that I just given into the environment of directory underscore pictures. So these are all the conditions I'm just using for food. So this is a fab is used to camera, and this is a condition which is shown in my screen. Let me show in the emulator. So in the add food to database, so this is my fab1, this is my fab, I'm just accessing camera, this is my fab1, I'm just accessing through the gallery. Let's move to my history. As I previously shown, let me click on the history. I previously shown my dashboard. So in a history, it contains the date, planned food list, date, breakfast, lunch, dinner, other timings, and what are the food which are stored in that. So if we go to the back, then it will stored in the back, and if we go to the next, it will stored in the next. To share the pictures, or we just go to the home page, we are using these conditions. And whatever the food which are stored in the breakfast layout, then it will show stored in my breakfast. Like this, whatever the food I'm storing in that layout, it will be stored in that condition. Let's go to my select date. For selecting date, I am using a calendar and date picker and date view. So in this, from the calendar, I can able to see the date view, and I can pick the date whatever I just want to plan. So here I'm just giving the select date condition. After go to the select date, it will shows my calendar, and in my calendar here it shows my year, month, and day. So this is the order which is shown. Everything will be stored in the int. Let's go to my select food. So to select the food here, I'm using the data transfer object. Here I'm having a data transfer objects like Foodie. Foodie I'm using here to show what are the foods I'm having in my databases. And I'm having a breakfast data transfer object, day type, dinner, food planner, lunch, others, and tag. So tags are used to show what are the tags I'm having in my add tags. So all these data transfer objects are used to whatever the contents over here having in the data transfer object will shown in my activities. So here I'm using the case switch cases, like if I using the condition of breakfast, then it will not allow me to access the lunch, dinner, and others. If it is not is equal to breakfast, then it is go through the lunch. Like this, it will check all the loops and each and every time. So while coming down, let me show the cases. Yeah, here is the cases. So if I add the food to the breakfast, then it will add it in the food to breakfast. If I'm adding into the lunch, then it will find the food it is in a breakfast, or if it is not is equal to null, I mean if it is equal to null in the breakfast, then it will store in my lunch. So likewise it will test all the cases, and it will store wherever I just want to store my food. While go to my select food time, here I can my select food time is a four times, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, and others time. So these are all the timings I'm just using over here. So once I click on the select food time, it will shows my breakfast, lunch, dinner, and others. So if I storing my food in my breakfast, then if it is not is equal to null, then it will store in my breakfast. If it is equal to null, then it is check all the other conditions, and it will store wherever I just want to store the food. While coming to the share and continue planning, here I can able to share the food, whatever I just planned the food in my database, in my history. So if I after I'm clicking the food, and after the planning, it will shows me that congrats meal is planned in my history. So what are the text we are I'm just using over in the breakfast, lunch, I eat what all the text will be stored in the breakfast text, lunch, dinner text, and other date text. So in my history, it shows first the date, and after that it shows the breakfast, I mean the food time, and after it shows the food name. Likewise, I'm just using the conditions over here. Let's go to my adapters. So I'm having the adapters over here. These are my adapters. These adapters are used to display in my activities. And these are all my databases. As I previously mentioned, this is my database to add food and add tags, and this is my database to add, I mean here I'm just taking the planning database utensil. This is the basic database, and this is the from this condition it is accessing the food, whatever I'm just stored in the history. Let's go to my layout. My layout is in my res. In a res, if I click on the layout, this will shows the design and text whatever I'm just used to design my application. So this is my text of the application. While coming to the design, this is my design. Here I'm just using the I can able to get from the drag and drop from the text view or button. This is my text view, and this is the button, and I can edit the button over here. Like this, I'm just using the all of my activities layouts. It is shown over here. This is the text view, and this is the design view. This is a select date, whatever the select date I'm just using over here. So from this drawable, I'm having the contents, I mean the images, whatever which are not available here. I'm just saving the pictures, these pictures over here to use. Here you can see the date calendar picture and gallery image picture like this. So this is the end of my application. I am faced the two problems while using this application. The first problem is, first when I'm accessing the permission to access the camera. So after accessing the camera, I just face a problem like my application instantly stopped. So to overcome that, I just go through the tutorials in the YouTube and just overcome through the tutorials. And the second one is the database. So while I'm creating the tables in my SQL databases, and after using the database, my applications get crashed. So I'm just go through the Google and I just go through the Stack Overflow. Here there are a lot of developer suggestions. Through the suggestion, I just overcome that problem. So this is my end of the application. Thank you for listening.